Welcome to my first ever Paralives video. For today's build, I'm creating a 3-story corner building with commercial spaces on the ground floor and a full apartment spanning the second and third floors. I'll be showing you how I built the exterior and decorated both the bookshop and the flower shop. Without further ado, let's get building! Starting with a shell, I knew I wanted a cozy corner building, so the very first thing I placed was this curved wall for the main storefront. I also maximized the space and followed the shape of the lot to give the building a more interesting footprint, while keeping the back section a little more angular so I'd have room for a garden later. For the upper floors, I didn't want to simply copy the ground floor because I wanted the corner storefront to protrude slightly, as I do have plans to cover it in plants. I also used thicker walls up front to add a bit more depth to the facade. I sectioned off parts of the building with interior walls because Paralives build mode works with rooms and individual surfaces rather than a unit of a wall. Since I wanted to use different exterior textures, these interior walls acted as separators while also helping shape the floor plan. My goal was to make it look like two neighboring buildings joined together. For the bookstore facade, I settled on a green color. I originally wanted it to be red, but I just couldn't get the right shade, so I leaned into earthy tones instead. I'm still amazed by how customizable the windows are. You can pretty much design your own combinations. Here, I paired French windows with awning windows above them, and I think they look so cute together. Now comes slowly refining the outside. I swapped the temporary wooden columns for brick ones, added moldings, placed the parapet on the rooftop, and built a mansard roof with a little dormer for what I'm now officially calling the adjacent building. And topped it all off with a tiny weather vane because, well, it's cute. I also changed a few of the finishes to this lovely coppery color and broke up the curved facade with some brick detailing because it was feeling a bit too flat, which is kind of ironic considering it's literally a curved wall. Around the back, I originally planned to add a fire escape, partly because I wanted multiple apartment units on each floor connected by it. Unfortunately, I ran into a weird bug where the walls kept becoming paper thin. At first, I thought it was the stairs causing it, but it turned out to be the small enclosed space itself, so I scrapped the idea entirely. Back at the front, I finished it off with awnings, window grills, and a pop of yellow with some flower boxes before painting a sidewalk with the terrain tool. For the adjacent building, I found the perfect windows. I was actually streaming this build to a friend and she described them as scrumptious, so obviously that meant they had to stay. I paired an arched window at the top with rectangular ones below. Then I found this decorative trim, which is also, dare I say, scrumptious, and used the advanced placement tool to position it against the dormer since there is no attic window going there anyway. Of course, we're adding more facade details. I found these decorative pieces and turned them into little keystones above every window. From there, it was mostly a matter of layering all the little architectural details, the rest of the keystones, custom window sills, more brick columns, and a whole lot of nudging things into place. I trimmed about a quarter of a tile off of the corner of the adjacent building for no reason other than I liked how it looked. Also, can we acknowledge a quarter of a tile? I love that the game even lets us do that. The flower shop side got the same treatment, although lining everything up took a little longer than I'd like to admit. Windows snap perfectly into place, but the rest of the decorative elements don't, so I end up really staring at them to make sure everything lines up. I try not to be too much of a perfectionist, but I also know I'd never stop thinking about crooked flower boxes. With the fire escape officially abandoned, I enclosed the back area to make room for a little garden instead. Added a back entrance to the flower shop and finished it off with this classic striped awning. Now it's time to really decorate the storefront. I'm over in the debug category, which comes from Zerbu's Debug Objects category mod on the Steam Workshop. I'm just browsing through all the different signs to see which one fits the vibe I'm going for. Before I even found a sign though, I came across this weathered painted mural. It looks like an old advertisement that faded over the years, and I love the bit of history it adds to the building. I ended up replacing the original awning with this roof overhang and spent a while layering climbing vines. I made sure to mirror and rotate every vine so they look like they have grown naturally instead of being copy-pasted everywhere. Similar to the flower boxes I chose earlier, I filled the flower beds with sunflowers and daisies. They give a nice pop of yellow against all the green. Back to browsing the debug. There's just too many cute things here. I spotted this little fruit stand and thought it would be perfect out front. I like imagining that the owner lets a local fruit vendor set up shop here during the day maybe. So I added a stool and a bucket of fresh fruit to display a little story on this corner. And finally, I remembered why I made the little protruding ledge earlier. I tucked some rose bushes into it with the help of our trusty advanced tool, then matched the color of the leaves to the climbing vines to tie everything together. To wrap up the exterior, I parked the bicycle outside the shop and added one last sign for the fruit stand. Fair warning, I jump around a lot during this part. Whenever I discover an object I like, I immediately throw it wherever I think it might work. I actually rearrange the footage a little for your viewing experience. Instead of watching me bounce back and forth between different corners of the room, I group together clips where I'm working on the same area. So if you notice one section looking finished before I've technically gotten into it, that's why. Anyway, for the bookstore, I knew I wanted one wall to be completely lined with bookshelves, so I'm filling this side with these tall shelves. One feature I absolutely love is that you can switch shelves to their empty variant through the alternative design menu, so I manually cluttered a few of them to break up the repetition, and that made the shop feel a little more lived in. I also wanted a small antique section because I thought it would be fun if the shop sold a mix of secondhand books and vintage novelty items. Above it, I'm hanging a few paintings as well with little price signs to make them look like they're for sale. Now to clutter the antique shelves. A big mouth Billy Bass, a snow globe, picture frames with somebody else's grandma probably, an old grandfather clock. Basically, if it looked even remotely vintage, it went on the shelf. I also had to include this unpacking collaboration item with the protagonist's belongings. Maybe they donated these during the time they were with the toxic boyfriend. If you've played unpacking, you know exactly what I mean. I'm stacking books on top of these pallet crates to make them look like newly arrived stock, along with this little recipe of the day display. I wanted this area to be a bit messy, but still organized in a way you usually find in secondhand bookstores where people are constantly browsing through the items. You'll see me move the whole setup over to the other side because I was still figuring out the layout as I went. And can we just appreciate that all the clutter stays exactly where it is when you move the table? Here I'm using what I think is supposed to be a kitchen trolley as a book truck or a book cart. It works surprisingly well, so I'm pretending the owner uses it to sort and shelve all previously unpurchased books. Like I said earlier, I'm trying to tell a little story with the space. Now we're decorating the last section of the bookstore, the checkout counter. I added this little shopping basket to make it look like someone is in the middle of checking out. I know people don't usually use baskets in small bookstores, but it looked adorable, so I filled it with what looks like a journal and, of course, a chicken plush. And because every little indie bookstore deserves one, there's a tip jar sitting right beside the register. Finally, behind the counter, I cluttered the shelves with office supplies, organizers, and cardboard boxes. Moving on to the flower shop. Before getting into the decorating, I wanted to block out all the main surfaces first. I reused the same counter from the bookstore, and naturally, the flower buckets were the first thing I had to plop on top. I also came across this kitchen cupboard and immediately knew it would make the perfect floral arrangement station, so that went in as well. From there, I added a ladder shelf by the window for the plants to catch some sunlight, this organic wooden table for the main flower display, a little patio table out in the garden, and finally tucked a folding table underneath the wooden one to give the flower display a bit more height variation. Once the layout felt right, I picked out the three main flowers I wanted to feature and grouped them into little bundles inside these wooden crates. Then I mixed in the bucket of bouquets from earlier to add more variations and to make the display feel a little fuller. While browsing through the debug category, I found this rather interesting object. I think it's supposed to be an entire room merged into a single item because there are some floating elements to it. The only parts I actually wanted were the drapery over the checkout counter and the vines behind. Luckily, most of the pieces clipping into the neighboring rooms blended in surprisingly well. The rest of the floating bits though, I'll be hiding those later. Now we're putting together the floral arrangement area. I paired the kitchen cupboard with this hanging shelf and an end table that matches its style. I switched the cabinet panels into this wicker texture, resized the end table so it looks like an extension of the workbench, and matched its cabinet to the same wicker texture. Back at the checkout counter, I changed the drapery to this woven texture to better match the vibe I was going for. Then I stumbled across this flower price board, which, surprise surprise, came from the debug category. It looked absolutely perfect behind the register. To finish off the space, I added a few more eccentric decorations along with shelves of mason jars and what I'm choosing to believe are scented candles. I'd like to imagine that this flower shop also sells flower-scented candles, potpourri, and other handmade goodies alongside the bouquets. All that's left now is to absolutely fill the place with plants, hang up a few paintings, and just like that, the interior is finished. Next up, we'll head outside to decorate the storefront and the garden. and that's the finished build. If you'd like to download it for your own game, you can find the build on my Steam workshop. Links will be in the description down below. The apartment upstairs is fully decorated too, but I figured trying to fit everything into one video would make this way too long, so if you'd like to see how I furnished and decorated the second and third floors, let me know in the comments. I'd be more than happy to make that its own video. I will leave you now with some screenshots so you can take a closer look at all the little details. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my very first Paralives speed build. I'll see you in the next one.